Hey guys, welcome back to Smart Stupid Stuff. Tonight we're going to be talking about UBI, Universal Basic Income. Some thoughts on that from some of our guys, some of the folks. We got Martin, Elias, Hassan, and Rambir. I hope you guys enjoy the show. We got a couple of shout-outs.
Shout-outs to, of course, Corey Harpin. Thanks for listening, buddy. He started a YouTube channel. It's called Everyday Eternity. Check him out. He's on YouTube. He's sharing his journey as he trains and loses weight with his son. Thank you for Evan, who listened to the whole podcast. I appreciate it. Thank you, Susan, for listening. Thank you, Alicia, for listening. Thank you, all of you guys. If I forgot your name, I'm sorry, but we appreciate you. We love you.
And you're in our hearts.
Thank you. Welcome.
Enjoy the show.
But you don't have time to call the bank and think about your future? Huh, you son of a bitch. What I told you, huh? I do. Hey, this is the last time I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to waste my time with somebody who does not want to do anything. Okay? Call them now.
All right, guys. As much as the sound is this, we're live.
Hey guys, we are live.
It's rolling,
Trágate. Everybody going to talk today about what you want to say, okay?
What did you
talk now, okay?
So
all right.
What are we talking
We are live.
That was our good friend Rambir. For anybody that doesn't know, he's been tricking everybody with a fake English accent.
Don't talk that way, okay?
That's English?
Don't talk that way to me. I'm going to tell you, Elias, turn off your phone now. Get ready for the podcast. We're going to do a podcast, okay? Let us go now. We are live.
Go. For those who want to see us live, follow us at Mosquito Ninja 7, twitch.tv/Mosquito Ninja 7. Help me out here. What is it?
Let's read. What's the link say here?
It's twitch.tv
twitch.tv //
Mosquito Ninja 7.
Mosquito Ninja 7.
How did you even come up with that email, that username?
Actually, it was actually Argentinian.
It was a recommended
Argentinian singer, Mosquito Ninja. No, was it Mosquito Ninja? Yeah, I think it was an Argentinian singer that had a Mosquito Ninja thing. I copy it, but it works because here's the thing: mosquito. It can be in Spanish and English is the same word, mosquito.
And ninja.
Ninja also is the same thing. So it's one of those.
And then the 7, you're not spelling it out. Just número 7.
It was taken 7 times.
So you chose 7.
Well, no, I didn't choose it. That's what it was. You gotta get close. You gotta really get close in here, baby.
It chose you.
The 7.
So today, like this week, I had a flat tire, and man, I was on the side of the road, and this guy Eddie just stopped right there. So I'm gonna give a shout out to Eddie, man.
Nice.
Man,
Eddie.
this guy was
Eddie
ready for
through.
everything, man. I was like right next to him, 540. I was right there, park, and I didn't have a hinge. Like no, how do you call I didn't have a jack. This guy had the jack. He even had some, like on the back of his truck, he has like a cooler with drinks and things like that. You want a water, like he started helping me out like so much, man.
Very nice.
Very thankful that.
Shout out to Eddie.
There's still good people out there,
Good Samaritan.
man. Like he took his time, man. He even helped me change the tire. I had a good time with Eddie, man. So thank you, Eddie.
So did you know Eddie from before? Or no.
No.
Brand new Eddie.
This guy stops out of nowhere. He was ready for. To help people out, man, to tell you the truth, man. And I told him about the podcast. He'd be listening to the podcast. I was like, man, next time I do a podcast, like, I'm going to...
Shout out.
He would even wanted to come, man. So we should, like...
Hell yeah, dude.
There you
We're
go.
trying to get guests out here.
You guys get in line.
I spoke to Bobby today. He said he'll come.
Yeah.
Bobby?
Yeah, he said he will
Next
come.
time you guys want to have a podcast about real estate, we'll get Bobby out here to
Absolutely.
give us his 2 cents.
That'd be great.
Hell to the yeah.
We need good citizens like Eddie.
So what
Thank
do you
you,
guys
Eddie.
want to talk about today?
How often do you do a good deed? Somebody did one for you.
No, I do. I always stop, man. I'm
was
the
last
kind of
time
guy
you,
that always stops, man.
When was the last time you did a good deed?
Shit,
And what was it?
I pay for this lady electricity bill.
What? That's awesome, dude. Good job.
With the church old lady.
Nice.
Cool.
I would never do that.
Now, did you pay or did the church pay it?
No, I pay for it.
I would
Nice.
never do that ever.
What about you, Martin? When was the last time you did a good deed?
I honestly couldn't tell you. I can tell you when people have done good deeds for me. I was kidding about that. I would never do that ever again, or ever. But I don't remember.
It was interesting. I was on my way over here tonight, and we were at the light, and there was a lady on her phone. I was like, "Make sure you're a safe driver." She was texting, and we had the windows down, and she's like, "Oh yeah, absolutely." She's like, "Yeah, for sure," and then she put her phone away. I felt kind of bad. I mean, you're at a stoplight, so I guess it's not that bad, but I guess you just, everybody's talking about texting and driving, and somebody pointed you out.
Consider your good deed?
Hey, it may have caused an accident.
Dude, I'm telling you, it gets out of control. People are fucking crazy.
My wife was driving one time, and she said that, I don't know if she was texting and driving or somebody else was, but they put a sign on her. I think she may have been on the phone, and then somebody put on a white piece of paper, it said, "Put down your phone or you will die."
That's extreme. But
and I guess it got the point across, but yeah, it's a little extreme.
That's
but maybe
good.
they're doing a favor.
That's good, man.
Hey, man, it is what it is. That's what it comes down to. It's not sugar coated.
right.
So
I think
here's
it's
the
kind of
thing.
good, but sometimes you
Is
need
it a good
that.
deed if you do something and then you bring it up and talk about it?
I mean, if you're talking about it on a podcast because somebody asked you, I don't think there's anything wrong. I think it's a good
It's
deed.
still a good deed.
But if you go around bragging about it to get recognition for your good deeds,
In our culture, they say that if you do a good deed and you bring it up or you brag about it, it goes away. It's like it never happened.
does it
Well,
count
it
for a
did happen,
podcast?
Dude, that's a whole philosophical thing. Because I remember, I think it was Aristotle. He has the whole thing. If you're a righteous man, if you feel self gratification, then you're not righteous. So can you do a good deed without feeling self gratification? So you would have to do something and not even feel good about it.
Well, they
Well, I
said
think that's
Well,
bullshit. Though.
Yeah, naturally you're gonna feel good about it.
That's
Yes.
for
Well, a
a
lot of people do good deeds because it makes them feel good.
Mm-hmm.
It makes them feel good to help people.
Instead of taking and getting and buying, actually giving.
they said
but you feel good about it. And that's
like when you
supposed
ask people, like, if you had money and like if you have enough money, what would you do with all the money you have? And most of the people will say that they will help other people. So I think that is like 90% of the people they said.
I think a lot of people are going to say that,
But when
Regardless.
they have to cut a check, it's a little bit different.
but when they're asked to cut a check, it's a lot.
Yeah, but okay, but in the inside, like there is that wanted it to help.
Sure.
Like it's that feeling in there. Of course, once they have to cut a check, it's probably going to be hard on them.
I never give money to people who are asking for money on the street. Never. I don't know why. And in Colombia,
But
they're everywhere.
you would give them food. You would give them a
Right,
bottle of
so
water if you had it.
if it's a friend or somebody that needs help, I would help them. For some reason, that whole scenario I feel like is a scam.
One time we had ran out of gas. We're on the side of the road. I was with my buddy David. Shout out to David. And we were on 95, getting off an exit off 95, leaving Maryland towards North Carolina. Ran out of gas, and we stopped, and we were probably there for at least an hour trying to get somebody to pick us up, man. And it was early in the morning because we had left late at night, and so it was probably around. By the time we stopped, ran out of gas, probably 4:30. Next thing you know, the sun's coming up. Everybody's on the way to work, and here's two Hispanic guys looking to get a ride just to the gas station. We don't need money. We just need a ride to the gas station. We have money. Nobody would stop. If anything, and you know what I ended up doing? There's a bunch of cones. It was like 2-3 lanes. I put the cones because there was a construction site nearby. I took the cones and put them and formed one line so that would automatically slow down. They would automatically see us, and they would have to slow down because it was one lane. Dude, people would roll down the window. Sorry, man, I got to go. Sorry, I'm late for work. Oh, I wish I could. Oh, this is not my vehicle. Whatever the excuses was.
You think that maybe they were a little bit afraid?
Yeah, for sure. Nowadays, I mean, unfortunately, you don't know who it is. Two Hispanic guys, young guys. You don't know what, especially a female. I wouldn't expect them to pick us up. And we had one guy pick us up. His name was Eternity. Or Eternal. His name was Eternal. Shout out to Eternal if you're out there. It's probably like 10 years ago. So Eternal stops
His name
by.
was Eternal?
His name was Eternal.
It couldn't have been his.
He
real
probably
name.
told you that.
That's what his.
He was like, "Hey, thanks for helping. My name is Rambir. What's your name?" He's like, Eternal.
Well, check it out. Check this out. So he picks us up. Right? It's not. We don't like formal introduce ourselves. Like, look, man. Look, we've been trying to get a ride. We just need a ride to the local gas station. So we get some gas. That's all we need. He's like, yeah, no problem, man. Come in. He picks us up. We're like, damn, dude, we've been out here for like an hour. Thank you so much. No problem, man. What are you guys up to? Or blah blah blah. He's on his way to work. He calls into work and tells him that he's late. That he's going to be a couple minutes late. He doesn't tell him I stopped to pick somebody up. He just said, called his boss. Sorry, I'm going to be a few minutes late. He's like, I do. What do you guys do? Whatever. He said, I do music. So really, yeah. You guys want to hear it? Yeah. All of a sudden, man, he puts on a tape of some beats that his buddy produced, and he just start flowing. He just start rapping. He's rapping. We're like, yeah, the back seat. Yeah. Oh my God, like oh man, this dude was the man. He picks us up. We're flowing on the way to the gas station. Oh my gosh, man, super nice guy. We're like, man, we need more people like you in this world. He's like, you know what it is? Nowadays, people just don't care. They just don't care.
It's not that people don't care. Just life is so busy. Life is just so busy that people don't have time to help.
So busy that people don't have time to help somebody? I mean, why? That's life, right? I mean,
listen, if you catch me on the way to work, chances are I'm just going to drive right by.
Me too.
I got to get there.
Hey, I want to say something. Me too.
Yeah. My job is more flexible, so I don't mind stopping.
No, here's the thing, man. Like,
but do you think you would get in trouble if you literally took a selfie with this person? And look, I stopped and helped somebody give them a ride because they ran out of gas. Would you get reprimanded for that at work?
I mean, not necessarily, but...
And I'm not saying you're going to be going there every day, random picking up people off the road, but...
Just little break. John Gonzalez is on the chat. He wants us to say holla. He's in Colombia.
John Gonzalez, en Medellín. ¿Dónde andas?
Pasa, marica?
¿Qué dice Consul?
But, shout out, man. Listen to our podcast. We've been doing this every Wednesday.
John Gonzalez.
Shout out to John Gonzalez.
Is that the Puerto Rican guy we used to hang out with? Used to be a female, turned male.
Nah, we can't put him on blast like that. Yeah.
No, but let me tell you a story, though. It didn't happen to me, but it happened to a guy from work. He told me this story recently. He was at Chipotle making a line, and this young guy come in and said, hey, can you please buy me lunch? I'm hungry. Buy me lunch. Mm-hmm. This guy, he's a pretty Christian guy, very helpful. So he said, yeah, of course, I'll buy you lunch. Guy goes in front of him, orders 2 lunch, a beer. He buys like this huge lunch. He's like, whoa, what are you doing? I'll buy you a lunch, but I'm not paying for that beer. He's like $20 lunch at Chipotle. Mm. And that's the thing that turns me off from helping people. Like, are they scamming me? Is it bullshit? Like, what is it? Like, they're gonna rob me or whatever. That's what keeps me from doing it. Like, I don't mind helping somebody that needs help, and I would be willing to do it, but I feel like it's always like some sort of scam. Was it you that told me years ago that you had a friend that asked a guy hey, you're out here asking for money, why don't you come here and give you a job? I don't have time for a job. I make more money out here.
Yeah, my uncle.
Well, who was that guy?
This homeless guy just on the side of the road. He stands on the same corner every day, and my uncle would take that road to get to work. So he's seen this guy there every day. So one day he rolled down the window and he told him, he said, look, man, I'm not going to give you any money, but I manage a chain of hotels. We can see about getting you a job. And the guy just blew him off. He said, yeah, I don't really have time for a job. Not interested. But, I don't know how true this is, but they do say that a lot of those homeless people, it is a scam. And I somewhat believe it because certain roads that I take home, I see the same homeless people all the time on that corner. And their nails are not long. They don't have facial hair. Their hair's cut short. They don't look dirty. So how can you be homeless and your beard's always nice and trimmed, or you don't have facial hair, or your hands don't look dirty?
You got to be homeless.
Well, how homeless can you be?
Yeah, well, there's. Did you hear about that one lady who was in New York?
Yeah, I saw.
She was doing that, and she was supposed to be
think about it,
cricket, walking cricket,
crippled, and
she was
she ended up being living in a high end condo in Manhattan.
Yeah.
Look, think about it. What's the busiest road here in Raleigh that has a homeless guy on the corner? Mm-hmm. Busiest road you know. Name a road.
Falls of News.
Falls of Newsom.
And 540.
Okay, Falls of Newsom
Exit.
540. How many cars would you say drive by there a day? 2,000?
Nah, way
3,000?
I want
Probably-
to say a lot.
5,000?
Probably at least 10,000. Probably 10,000.
So 10,000. Let's just say 10% of that 10,000, give this person $1. That's $1,000 he just made in one day. I won't even make $1,000.
Even if it was 5%.
Even if it was 5%, that's $500.
So it's a business to be homeless.
You do
man.
that 2-3 days a week.
I've heard of teachers of a teacher doing
$72,000
that
a
as
year.
well. I don't know where was it. I think it was in Connecticut. There was a teacher that was doing that. The problem is you don't know who. That's the problem. You don't know. You don't
even
know
what you don't even know what they're buying with that money that you give them.
You don't know if it's legit. They're homeless or, unfortunately, a lot of the real homeless people have a lot of mental disability, mental issues, and there's nowhere for them to go.
You want to see real homeless people? Go downtown. See them. They're sleeping on the side of the road. You know, their
That's what I'm
clothes
saying.
look raggedy.
A lot of these people have mental illnesses. They have a behavior problem. They have a mental issue. They can't keep a job because they can't keep up with society's norms. Where do they go for help? You know, there's not a place for them to go and get help like that.
Well, yeah, mental health, it would be hard
Mental
to
health,
get.
yeah.
Especially we here, like everything is like so expensive, especially when it gets to medicine.
Yeah.
But there is a place in downtown where they get a place to sleep, and they get food too. And then the church that I go to, they work with the food bank,
Mm-hmm.
and whoever needs, like, if they need food, they don't do it for I need to buy lunch, because there's many places where they can get food, or they can have a place to sleep, or where they can shower. Like, if you look around, there's many people that would help you out. The problem is, like, when you have like a problem, like alcohol problem, like most of these people, they have like alcohol problems. Or drug problems,
Or just mental health problems.
or mental.
Well, a lot of these people have been homeless for so long, and they've been in this really shitty situation for so long that it's hard for them to break out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's hard for them to rebound. You know, it's hard for them to bounce back. I mean, even whoever, you know, if you quit your job today and you sat at home for 6 months and did nothing, it's going to be hard for you to get back on your feet. It's going to be hard for you to get that motivation and that energy to want to get out and do stuff. It's human nature.
Well,
I did for a while I was volunteering with Derek at the at a church, and every day I think it was Monday through Friday, they would do a free lunch that was open to the public. And the first time I went, I mean, every time I went I was just like, wow, just wowed. But they open from like 12 to 1, and it is a line out the door. And it's not what you think it is. It's not. I mean, there's people in there that are there's families that go in there. There is guys that are dressed up that you would never expect are homeless or needing a meal, and they go in there and they get a meal. I mean, they had a lady with 2 little kids in there, and it's just very, I mean, a humbling experience. You just, man, there's some people who are just struggling to eat, struggling to get food, and it was probably well over 100 people, probably 200 people.
And it's not hard for America to go homeless, man. Man, people living paycheck to paycheck. What happens when shit goes wrong? You
When
didn't
they lose
receive
their
your
job.
paycheck. You know, you lose your job, then
It's true.
shit, I was living paycheck to paycheck. Then shit can go sideways very quick. You know?
And everybody has their story. Everybody has a story, and it's not like they're bad people. They went homeless. I mean, some people just went. They couldn't keep up with the medical bills. They couldn't keep up with something. They got hurt at work. They didn't have insurance. And like you said, 70% of Americans living paycheck to paycheck. Nobody has an emergency fund, or a lot of people don't have an emergency fund to hold them down for 3 to 6 months.
a lot of veterans make it to.
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah, but you know, having said that, although it's easy to go homeless, America's probably one of the few countries where it's really easy for you to have a job.
If
Really
you're
easy for you
mentally
to make a
stable,
living.
yes.
that you want to see some fucked up homeless, go to Colombia.
Go to Mexico. Go to El
you see-
Salvador.
And here's again, I'm not saying I'm sounding like I don't have any sympathy for the homeless here, and I do, and I know there's a lot of issues that are like being a veteran, coming back, and not having the ability to reintroduce yourself to society or whatever. But in Colombia, you see some people that are like fucking skinny as fuck, man. They have no shirt, like literally no shirt, in their underwear, like dragging themselves to the floor, literally dragging themselves to the floor, and they're asking for money. And then I grew up looking at that, and then I see some dude like with a big belly with a sign says "Please help Jesus" or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, fuck you, or not. I just feel like. I don't feel like I need. I mean, I'm sure that there's a reason, and I don't want to be an asshole about it, but I just don't feel like that pain of like, damn, this guy is dying.
And I think a lot of it goes back to mental health. I'm just saying mental health because that's one of those things that man can. He looks solid. He has built. He can work. He has a belly, but inside, mentally, he might be struggling, and he just who knows what the situation is.
What do you think the solution is to
universal income? I've been looking into. I really do.
That's silly, dude.
I mean, where do people go right now?
No, it's not silly.
Where do people go right now if they have mental health issues and they don't have family support? Where can they go? Where do they go?
I tell you why.
Because you can't see mental health. You can't see what's wrong with them.
As long as it's all about money, that's not going to work because there's no money in curing people from the mental health problem. There is.
Why do you think universal income is good?
Because
why do you think that'll work?
Because something about the way society is set up right now, it creates for those who are not winning or they're not doing well, it creates this sense of despair that is so deep that is either driving them to fucking shoot everybody or fuck it, I don't give a shit. So there's something fundamentally wrong about the setup in which having something like $1,000 a month coming in and knowing that you have that no matter what, you have that like a little bit of a buffer, that you have something that you're like, you don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about mortgage. Mortgage is taken care of. But I'm not going to be living in the street. $1,000 is enough for mortgage, right? That's not enough for a lot. I'm not telling you like you're going to sit at home and not do shit and not have aspirations, but having that a little bit of a buffer, we can't afford as a society. We should be in a society in which nobody should be homeless. Why?
We have something similar to that now. It's called welfare.
No, it's
right,
not.
It's not working.
Can I tell you why it's not the same?
And it's not working. Because what it's going to do is it's going to breed laziness.
No.
That's what it's going to do.
Can I say something?
Of course.
The reason it's not the same is because when do you get welfare? When something went terribly wrong. Just like when you go to a food bank when something went terribly wrong. I'm talking about every citizen.
Not necessarily.
And I'm getting this idea. I'm not getting this idea from myself. There's this new candidate, Andrew Yang. Listen to him. He makes a really good point. I mean, I'm not saying he is or not. I'm just saying I like his ideas. Me personally, it makes sense.
So this is an additional income to everybody.
It's just everybody gets $1,000.
Give everybody $1,000 a month just to give it to them, which is what we're doing now with welfare. And these people that are on welfare, and they're getting money from the government, the good majority of them have no desire to better themselves. They're getting free money from the government. A lot of them. Why would I want to go and actively look for a job?
I'm not.
Why?
Yeah. I really think like whoever wants to eat, should work for his money.
My dad.
Whatever you do.
My dad used to own a convenience store. Not to cut you off. My dad used to own a convenience store, and I used to see the kind of people that would come in and use EBT cards, which is what it is, which is where they're putting their welfare money. The government puts it on an EBT card, and they would use their cash for beer, blunts, and lottery and cigarettes, and then they would use their EBT card to buy their kids Doritos and Red Bull. I saw this firsthand.
Okay, so let me.
And this is money that we're paying for. People that pay their taxes. We're paying. We're supporting this.
Here's a concept that is interesting to me, right? So you're so outraged by the fact that our money is buying weed and cigarettes for these kids, right, or whatever. But you or everybody's in society, and this is a very common reaction to that, right? It's like, well, look at these fucking people that are wasting anywhere, they're lazy. First off, if it was for everyone, so these people are in already fucked up situations, they're not the best test subjects for this particular idea, right? If they gave you $1,000 a month, and they gave Elias $1,000 and Rambir $1,000 a month, and everybody that you may know around, they might utilize that. They're not every single person is going to go spend it on weed and alcohol or quit your. Will you quit your job if you had $1,000 a month?
No.
The second point,
I wouldn't. But you know what a lot of people are going to do, though? Is say, okay, I'm working my ass off right now, and I'm making $3,000 a month. Well, if the government's going to give me $1,000 a month, I'll quit my job. I'll go get an easier job, making $2,000 a month, plus $1,000 that I'm getting from the government. I'm right back to that $3,000, and I don't have to work as hard.
And great.
And instead of having a job where I'm doing something productive, I'm learning, I'm contributing to society, now I just have this dead-end job that just to get by, it's meaningless, doesn't progress, it doesn't teach me anything.
Or
that's what you're going to get. That's what you're going to get with universal income.
Same concept, but different scenario. You're working a dead-end job that you hate. You absolutely hate. You can't quit it because you need those $3,000 a month, right?
Okay.
The job that you love, or that entrepreneurship, or that idea that you've had, that thing that you always wanted to do, now you have the freedom. You have that extra $1,000 that is going to give you that buffer, so you're going to have people doing more creative things. The idea behind it has to do with the automation and how a lot of these jobs will disappear. This guy that's running for this, he's convinced that the jobs are going to go away. I kind of buy into that idea. The technology is going to be there very soon, sooner than you think. Within the next 10 years, there's going to be cars that drive themselves. There's going to be retail jobs that can be completely phased out by machines, right? So what's going to happen? The idea is like, we're going to retrain all these people. It's not good for anybody to have all these people unemployed. It's not good for you, for the rich, for anybody. Because now you have a lot of people that don't have shit to do, that are going to be disappointed, and they're going to be in this like sense of like, I don't know what to do. They're going to maybe steal. They might go a different route. It's not good to have that for anybody.
But what makes you think that once you give everybody $1,000 a month, they're not going to leave their jobs regardless? So if the government gives me $1,000 a month, and they give my wife $1,000 a month, and our 18-year-old son that lives with us at home, he's going to get $1,000 a month. Well, now we're making $3,000 a month as a household. Now we can all leave our jobs and not work.
That's great.
And not contribute to society. We're just going to sit home and collect money from the government.
But you very well know that you wouldn't do that.
I personally wouldn't do that.
And most people wouldn't.
You'd be surprised at what that would breed.
I guess you wouldn't know until something like this is tested, right? Or you put it out there.
But how do you test it and then take it away?
There's no government doing this, right?
You can test it like let's say in Argentina. The way it works, the more kids you have, the more money the government gives you. So there's a bunch of people having a bunch of kids because they know they're gonna get money for each kid that they have.
Look,
so
there are going to be situations in which people abuse the system. That's going to happen. But think about this. Think about like upstate New York, where no one has any disposable income. All of a sudden, everybody has $1,000 extra. So now opening that restaurant that didn't make sense to open, because why would you open a restaurant in upstate New York? Nobody has disposable income. But now in this piece of shit area I don't want to say piece of shit, sorry. In this area in which there's not a lot of economic booming or anything, development, then all of a sudden you can open a restaurant, and you know what? A lot of people are going to have money to spend. Yes, there's going to be that guy that somehow feels like because of $1,000 a month they can't work, or they're going to quit their job. But I think that it's going to free. We talked about being free and having and not working for the man and like being completely dependent on this. This is going to help that. And think about this. So to your point, what I was going to say is you're outraged by the fact that someone would say, how they're spending all our money, but you're not outraged by the fact that Amazon pays $0 in taxes last year.
That doesn't. I mean, I think that's irrelevant. I don't think that I'm not outraged about that.
No, but you said look, like it's costing us money. How much money is that costing us? I say that shit like that.
I say if you want to give people $1,000 a month, they need to be required to do 20 hours of community service a month. They need to go, contribute at a food bank.
Exactly.
4 times a month.
Keep your $1,000. What are the things, like, if you start thinking about it, like, all the money actually goes somewhere. Like, everybody's making money, and most of these people, at the end of the month, they end up with empty pockets, and they're waiting for the paycheck. What, 75%, they said? 75% of
Americans.
So it's not the problem about they making money, it's a problem about how they spend their money. Mm-hmm. So if even though everybody's getting $1,000 extra, somebody's gonna figure out a way to get us $1,000 from everyone. Like rent is gonna go higher, things are gonna go more expensive, food might get more expensive.
But it's gonna
just
drive
why?
the economy.
Because they know it's gonna help the economy, but the money's gonna go to the same places. People they own restaurants, they're gonna go higher on their
prices.
chicken.
Right, prices
are gonna go high. People they rent, they're gonna go higher because they know people have more money. Because at the end of the day, you're spending your money where everybody's spending their money. There's huge companies that are getting a lot of money from people. Like phone companies, they might go higher because they know people can pay a little bit more. So if you want to have the last phone, so instead of paying $80 a month, you gotta pay $120. It's only $40, but they gotta take that $40.
Think about the flip side of it, where now somebody has a higher income. Now they can get approved for a loan a lot easier. So a bank's going to give you a loan based on this extra $12,000 a year that you're now getting. And if you somehow get lazy because you're getting free money, or you stop caring because you get free money, or whatever reason you just decide that it's now easier, it's more practical to live an easier life, well, now you're more likely to default on that loan. I mean, look, listen, the reason why I feel the way that I feel is, I'll tell you about an incident that I had when I was working at my dad's gas station. So, lady comes in to buy something with her EBT card, and instead of charging her, I think the total was like $4 and some change, I accidentally rang up $40 when I swiped her EBT card. And I didn't know how to reverse that charge or to refund it. So it took me a while. I mean, she waited for 4, 5, 6 minutes for me to refund it. And when she saw that it was taking too long, she looks up and she says, "Just don't even worry about it. They're going to re-up my card here in a few days." Mm-hmm. That to me really rubbed me the wrong way. Because it's like, here you are getting free money from the government that I'm paying for and every other taxpayer is paying for, and you don't care that you just lost $36. So that shows that you don't even value what you're getting from the government.
Right.
You get to the point to where you're entitled to it. I remember a few years back when they started talking about wanting to drug test people before they can go on welfare. Mm-hmm. People lost their shit. People literally lost their shit. And here I am thinking to myself, I got to take a drug test and I'm working for my money. Why shouldn't you have to take a drug test if you're getting it for free? I mean, this is the mentality that you get when you start giving people free stuff. If you stand on the corner or at a door to a building and every person that walks in, you give them a free donut every day for 6 weeks, now it's going to become normal. Now it's going to become, it's expected. Now you owe them that donut every day. The first day that you stop providing free donuts,
forget about it.
People are going to, well, this guy's terrible. He's not giving us donuts anymore. Where's my donut?
Look, I think it's a good. I think there's an idea. It has pros and cons. Getting that subsidized, extra $1,000 a month. Is it really going to ever happen? I don't think so. And it would be good to. Where'd you say it was getting done already?
There are, so it's done in Alaska, for example. There is a universal income because of oil. Mm-hmm. Each resident of Alaska gets an X amount of money every so often, and it worked great.
It worked.
Awesome.
And I think that so John really wants you guys to see the comments. So here, I can pull them up in my phone so you can read them. He really wants to participate. He wants me to have him call in or whatever. I bet he would have some comments about UBI, but anyways, I just, this idea that the only reason we work is because we're hungry, and using the welfare system as an example, I don't think it gives it enough of a shot, or it's not a good comparison.
No,
because it's not what would happen on a large scale with people who are hardworking right now. But I think it would have stimulated the economy.
People that are already abusing.
Hey man, I let you talk when you were talking, right? Remember that? But what I was there will be some abuses. That's gonna happen. I agree with you. But the overall outcome, what's going to happen is it's also going to free up a lot of people who are honest. I think the large majority of people would take advantage of that and use it to reinvest it into the economy, fix their house. So how would you? What do you think? Do you believe that automation is going to take the jobs of a lot of people? Do you believe that's going to be a thing or not?
Yeah.
Because that's one of the biggest motivations for this particular candidate is that there's not going to be a job.
So they say like whoever, like let's say whoever's making the hamburgers at McDonald's, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whoever's making the
retail jobs and driving jobs.
So the guys making the hamburgers making $1,000 a month. Pretty much, yeah. They probably make the minimum wage right here in North Carolina is like $7. So I think they do make like $1,000 a month. But they're like kids too. They're learning, you know.
The idea is that it would free you up to have to do something else. Like, you know, like, okay, I don't feel so tied up to this job. Or what's going to happen when there's a bunch of people unemployed?
I think the solution to automation is if you're working at McDonald's and a machine takes your job, then maybe you need to learn how to work on those machines.
Turn it off.
There's always going to be somebody to work on the machines.
You need to learn how to program those machines.
You need to adjust.
And how to...
Sure.
But if your solution to automation is to give people free money... That's not the solution.
And I get what he's saying. Ideally, it's gonna bring creativity and might open up more ideas, more. You know, you have space to grow and to be creative, and actually, it might make a big change to the industry, or whatever industry you're in.
So let me ask you something. If you became a truck driver, how much does a truck driver make? 18-wheeler.
$25 a mile.
A mile. So
no, 25 cents a mile.
A year. What do they make?
They make good money.
Let's say they make
$50,000
to $80,000 a year, maybe more. Okay. If you decided to become a trucker, it's because you did not enjoy school, particularly. You might have made it through high school, but you did not enjoy going to college. You maybe did not. That was not your thing, right? But you're a hardworking person. It doesn't take that away from you. You're a hardworking person, but it wasn't a thing. Now here you are in your 30s or 40s. Or maybe younger, and then somebody comes to you and say, "Hey, we came up with a machine that drives." Mm-hmm. So the solution to that is to take you learn how to code, right? Go learn computers, but school was never your thing. That was not. So that is not a realistic. All I'm saying is that is not a realistic solution. You're gonna learn. These are hardworking people, but what they know how to do is drive trucks.
You're not going to expect.
They went to truck driving school to get a CDL.
They're not going to. A truck driver is not going to be a coder. He's not going to be a programmer. But he might be trained on working on those trucks, right? I mean,
but school wasn't his thing. I guess I don't know.
Right, but I mean, he had to pass a certain test to get his CDL license, right? So he might work on those vehicles if there's if a Tesla is driving it.
So let's say a Tesla drives it, and you get a job as a temporary or a maintenance person. You're not going to get paid the $80,000 a year. You might get paid a fraction of that.
You may. The only difference is, and you might get paid more. The only difference is, they're not going to need so many maintenance drivers or maintenance.
Let me tell you, this is something my mom told me like a long time ago. When she was like, I don't know, when she was like 20, they said by the year 2000 we're going to have flying cars. Okay, so we don't have flying cars now, and it's been 40 years since then. Okay, so I don't know if it's going to move as fast as we think it's going to move.
It is.
Or it might.
It's actually moving a lot faster than you think it's moving.
So I know what you're saying, but me personally, I don't know. Nobody knows. You're right, Elias. You're right. It might not happen. But I think the automation thing, we're very close to it. I mean, look at your phone.
Yo, many things are getting like I'm pretty sure that it's happening right now.
Before you know it.
But the people have to learn, have to adapt. And I think the system is not going to allow to have like a strong change from one day to another. It's going to take years, and people is going to learn how to adapt to those changes.
So
the government will not let nothing happen extremely, like leaving all the truck driver out of job. I don't think so. They're going to allow that to happen. Like the people that make tires, you know, they can make tires that will never go flat, and they will never. Why they don't let that go away?
It'll kill the industry
because it will kill like so many people will run out of jobs.
So to that point, and I'm regurgitating what I heard this guy, right? Because I'm repeating everything I heard from this Andrew Yang guy, is that something like this has already happened before with the Industrial Revolution and the Great Depression, and what we're experiencing right now is a larger thing than that. It's happening faster and quicker, and it's more impactful than that was. So we should be. This guy supposedly, quote unquote, is doing this, running for presidency, out of a concern of what's going to happen
here in the U.S.
Yeah.
How do you know that that's not just his part of his campaign to get elected?
Oh, it could be 100%.
Of course, he's going to show concern. I think I don't know. My biggest issue, like I said, with the universal income, is that it's too similar to welfare, and we know that that's not working now. We know that it's not working. We know that it's yielded negative results.
You're talking about for welfare,
yeah.
But that hasn't been to the mass public. That's been a like a niche. There's been a certain amount of
to the
demographic,
but that demographic is large enough for you to make a very.
But it's not to. I don't think it's enough to.
Yeah, I even
to
tell
compare
you
it to the rest of society. Right.
I even tell you something. In Colombia, there was no welfare, and the shit that I've seen over there, I'd rather have the welfare. Put it that way. You see little kids asking for money in the street. You see people actually starving. I completely agree. It is frustrating when somebody's abusing the system and is just completely having extra kids so they can get more money, or using all their money or not having any respect or value for that money is absurd. But at the same time, the alternative is to have kids starving or somebody not having enough money to live. Or so, like in Colombia, there isn't a system to help with that, and I've seen it. There's truly a free country in that way. You're completely free. There's not like taxation as much, and people can do whatever the fuck they want. And not having those things in place is worse, in my opinion. But also, I agree with Ramiro. It's not a good representation of what UBI would be. And it's funny because the idea of UBI, Universal Basic Income, is rejected so quickly, which is funny. It's like we almost like conditioned to think that we should work for our money, and that's the only way that we should ever do it. Like any free money is no good. Free money is no good.
You're not necessarily conditioned to work for your money. You're conditioned to work to get the things that you want. That you have to work hard to get what you want. You have to work hard to have nice things. You have to work hard to buy a car. You have to work hard to buy some nice shoes. You have to work hard to buy a bigger house. That's okay. And I think that's the problem, is that there's too many handouts, there's too many freebies that are causing people to not want to work hard. And even now, look at the new generation. Nobody wants to work anymore. Nobody wants to do anything handy. Nobody wants to do anything technical, because just the idea of you having to go work hard and work with your hands and your blood, sweat, and tears
is a turnoff.
That idea is gone.
Sure, I agree.
I don't want to sit at home and make easy money. And
they want to do a different type of. They want to do a different type of work.
Well, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Personally, here's what I say. Right, so there was a point. I'm gonna make this point right out of my ass, but there was a time and place in which you can have slaves. Right, that was the thing. So you would have people working the land, and you would have somebody in your house or somebody working for you that would have no rights, and they would be there as long as you wanted them to be. Right. So what was the idea? So that became illegal. That stopped being a thing, right? Mm-hmm. So how do they? So by the way, when that idea was being proposed, it was actually very rejected.
War.
But it was rejected by people because, like, how are we going to keep up with the economy? This is ridiculous. Like, who's going to work all the fields? There was a movement towards that, right? But anyways, it was passed. So what do you create to continue that movement? How do you talk somebody into showing up into a place and working hard?
Paying the money.
No, this idea of you pay them money, but also like, well, how much is worth it, right? Like you have somebody working in the field or doing a menial job, they're getting paid enough to live, right? And that's what they're gonna do. And how do you talk them into that other than like you need to work hard to get what you want? If you work really hard, you'll do it. And then
it's
almost
called modern day slavery.
Evilizing the idea that not working 9 to 5s, or that if you're the kind of person that's trying to get away with less work, you're somewhat a lazy fuck, or that you shouldn't be pursuing your own. You just need to put your head down and do what you need to do. That's what you should do. That's what I did. And that's what a hard-working American is going to do. And I mean, I'm just saying that. Can you see how that could be a replacement to this slavery for those who'd want you to do it? And how like having that freedom of like, hey, here's $1,000, would change that to give you a little bit of like, okay, now I don't have to work for this guy. I mean, I still do, because we need people to work for the society to move forward. But like having a little bit of freedom for that, I don't know.
He literally said he would give $1,000.
That's his plan.
Okay.
If he gets elected, everybody.
Elias is like, what's his name again?
If I can vote, man, I will vote for this guy. I can have a savings account with $1,000 every month.
I mean,
man.
look, that idea that you were talking about, Martin, is telling people, modern day slavery or whatever you want to call it. You got to work hard and you got to put in this time for you to get paid. And isn't that what's so unique and what's so nice about our economy and what's keeping our economy going?
And why everybody wants to come over here?
What's keeping our unemployment, exactly. What's keeping our unemployment rate down?
Yes, but to a point, there's that's the reason why 70% of Americans are in debt, right? Because there's a saying that says people buying things they don't need to impress people they don't care about, right? So like you said, yeah, you can go buy a house. You got a loan on that house. You can go get that car. You're paying a loan on that car. You got a bunch of clothes and furniture in your house and flat screen TVs that are paying on a credit card. So, if anything, it might be more damaging to people because they think they have more money coming in, so they can spend more money now. They're even more in debt than they were before we started this.
Is that what they get you to commit? Now you got to show up every day and continue to
work.
On some
Because
shit that is
to
meaningless to you. Like, you don't give a fuck about that, right? But you somehow have to show up and do it. And you may have a dream, like, for example, Hassan, you probably want to have a goat, right?
You want a goat?
You want a goat land. But you can't go do that because you have to continue to have...
Well, $1,000 is going to make it happen anyways.
No, but it's a start. Like, it's a little bit of freedom. And I like his idea, and I think that it's never going to happen. I agree with you.
Right.
I don't think it's never going to...
Because it doesn't make sense.
It makes sense. It's too radical.
It's a great experiment.
I think we're too brainwashed to do it.
He would be like
experiment.
buying his boat for $1,000 each boat, He's
I think
buying
the
boats
idea.
right now.
think the idea behind it is good, and I think the idea behind it's genuine and it's meant to yield a positive result. But unfortunately, you're not going to get that. You're going to get the opposite of what it's intended to be.
And no,
I use welfare as a perfect example. Welfare was intended for the taxpayers to pay taxes to help out people that
we're in a struggling
situation. They're down on their luck. They lost their job. They got kids. They can't afford their rent. They can't live. They need to buy food. So welfare was created. But unfortunately, instead of giving these people a pick-me-up, you gave them a crutch.
Or a hand-me-down.
Is what you did. And you gave them a crutch for them to use and to continue this cycle that they're in because you're giving them free money.
So here's my thing.
Not saying here's money, here's welfare, extra money for you to eat, for you to, here's money. You don't have to worry about food anymore. You don't have to worry about certain things. Now you can worry about getting a job.
So
now
I think I think it's I disagree. I think it's a good experiment because if you put it, what happens if you do that to entrepreneurs? Or what happens if you give that money to somebody who's creative and that's hungry, that's not looking for a handout? They're just looking for a little boost. Guess what? Now I don't have to worry about my rent. That's $800 a month and my water bill. Now I can really go and do this project that I've been wanting to do. So I think that's why it's a great experiment because you put it to the masses.
Again, that idea sounds great
but
when you think of it that way. But unfortunately, the majority of these people that you're going to give this money to are not going to be in that mindset.
No, but not these people of all. If you give it to all of U.S., you got
wants to do.
All walks of life, entrepreneurs, hustlers, everybody. Who knows? It could completely change the economy for the better.
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to paint this in a different picture, and I want you to tell me what you think. Do you think that welfare was implemented for the poor people or for the rich people? Because here's
for the poor people.
Because here's what I think. What happens when all those poor people don't have a source of food or just basic needs? What happens when the poor people don't have that? What do they do?
They need to go get it.
They steal.
Right.
They rob
and they. So those programs, I'll be willing to say that they were not necessarily created with them in mind. It was the rich saying, okay, we need to fucking control this a little bit because it's making the neighborhood look bad. And that's what they're thinking. And that's what... So, yeah,
or
you're
let's
right.
give them money so they can spend it in our stores. And they can spend
let's
it on
raise
our
the prices on these houses so they can go buy those houses. They will be far away
It's
from
not
us.
good for anybody when there's a shit ton of people unemployed. It's not good for the rich either because they can't sell their shit to anybody.
I think it'd be interesting to see as more and more people start to read into this and more people start to see what this guy wants to do. It'd be interesting to see, what the reactions are.
I think
and
it's
what people have to say about it.
I think it's too easy to say, oh yeah, it's bullshit. Look what happened with welfare. And I think most people would accept that as the truth. And they would, that's all the thought that would be given.
So all this money will be coming out of the government, right?
Yeah.
Out of your taxes.
So let's say we have 365 million people living in the U.S. giving $1,000 each person a month. How much is that? Huh?
Well, it's coming out of your taxes. That's where it's coming out of.
Well, his thing is that he's going to tax. So Amazon, for example, they didn't pay a single penny in taxes all last year, and they made a ton of money. Supposedly, I don't know. I'm just taking that. Yeah. So the money is there, but as a consumer, as a normal citizen, we don't know if that money is there or not. We just get sold this idea that we're in deficit, that the money's not there. The money supposedly is there, and he talks about that, about like how the average rich person is going to hire a really smart guy to help him avoid taxes. That's just a natural thing to do, and he wants to do something about that. But I mean, the money that is going to come from this all this money Amazon is making all the money Apple is making.
Yeah, but I don't think so they're making that much money.
Oh, they're making a shit ton.
Yeah, but not $1,000 for each person.
I don't know, but I would think that is a lot.
How much is? I mean,
no, because you're talking about 665 million people getting $1,000 each month. So do the math. Doesn't even fix on your calculator.
Google that. Google how much money Amazon made last year. I don't know. It is a lot. Like they made a shit
couple
ton
billions.
Of money. And that's only one company. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, I heard Amazon in each product they make the profit is because they sell so much, but they make very little profit out of each product that they sell.
They sell a ton of products.
Yeah, they sell a lot, but
they have TV shows and everything.
They do.
They got TV shows and things. Well,
Amazon Prime.
Amazon reported record profit in 2018, earning $10 billion in net income, compared to just $3 billion in 2017.
So $10 billion.
$10 billion.
Over tripled.
But Amazon has other trademarks also. They have other companies below them as well.
Yeah.
Hey, Google how much money Amazon paid in taxes last year. I'm curious if it's there. I don't know. I think the money's so here's what I say: the resources are there, right? We have enough food and resources for everybody to be okay, right? Yeah. And that's what it really matters, right? This idea of money is just a way in which we count resources. So there shouldn't be a reason why somebody doesn't have a place to live. That doesn't make sense in the society.
Or something to wear. Like you go to the mall, you see clothes everywhere.
For so cheap.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so I listened to the guy for a bit. I thought it makes sense. But like Hassan said, how do you know he's not just really good at selling you on that idea?
Trump did a good job of selling it.
Yeah, he haven't even built the wall yet, man. Come on.
He's in the process. I heard that they've already built like 40 miles worth.
Well, that's nothing.
Nothing now.
40 miles. 40 miles?
Let's see in 2 years.
Out of,
like
how long is that? How many thousands of miles?
A few thousand maybe.
Yeah.
You gotta go.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, I think it'll be a great experiment. I think that's something that would be great if we could experiment that somewhere besides Alaska. I think Alaska is very different. It's a very different.
Alaska's its own country, man.
Yeah, seriously.
I think it happened somewhere else too, but I think it was Sweden or one of those like super progressive places.
Sure.
I think it makes perfect sense. I mean, it's not getting rid of capitalism altogether because that's always the problem. Oh, don't get rid of capitalism. Communism has never worked. Well, this is not really getting rid of capitalism. That's still the main idea, but having some sort of like level, like if you don't have to worry about the basic things, that would be nice. So you focus on what you want to do. Maybe some new ideas come up. I don't know.
So if I have to come up what I think, I really think everybody should work for what they have. If you don't work for what you have, then you don't deserve it because you haven't worked for it. That's the way I think, you know? Like, you work for what you have. Many people, like, okay, 75% of America is in debt. 75% is in debt for things
that they don't need.
They don't even need.
Become minimalist.
So, like, do you actually need all these things you have at your house? Do you actually need lights to change color? Like, Alexa, put pink lights on the kitchen. You know? Like, what do you even need that? You just went in there like a $900 in lights when you don't even freaking need that.
But that's capitalism at its finest.
That's consumerism.
So what I'm saying is, like, people is making let's say they make $2,000 a month. They just gotta learn how to manage their money if they want to live like a good free life. Many people don't know how to manage their money. So if they go to school, I'm gonna learn how to manage my money. Even though you make $1,000 a month, if you like very strict with what you're doing and you don't go crazy about it, you're gonna be able to live a good life, go to vacation. If you know what you're doing with your money. People don't know, and they're not teach about what they do with their money. If they got $1,000 extra, they're going to spend it because they don't know how to deal with that.
Exactly.
They don't know how to deal with money.
I agree with that. Before you start giving people $1,000 a month, give some money towards the education system so they can learn how to manage their money. Because Elias hit it right there, the nail on the head, because if you don't know how to manage your money, what's another extra $1,000? What's another extra $10,000? It doesn't matter. Just
both should be happening. Both.
Put that $1,000 towards a debt relief program.
So
educate people how to manage their money. How many people out of those 70% Americans living in debt? How many of those do you think have a budget?
Well,
right. So if you add another $1,000 to the month,
the only debt that you actually have to go for it will be your house.
Okay. So
and the car. That's it.
No, that makes sense. But think is the fat person that has diabetes, right? And they absolutely overate, and they ate too much sugar, right? Same concept. You shouldn't have bought so much.
Did they have a nutrition class?
Exactly. So the nutrition class is key. But you have to admit that the fucking advertisement and the way that shit is done is not putting things in their favor. So the same concept goes with that. You're 18 years old. You leave high school. Here's a credit card.
You see 500 advertisements a day.
Right.
Some type of advertisement.
So something has to give there. Like, as capitalism as advertising, marketing at its finest. And yes, I agree with you. It would be much better if you could self-control. So I think both should be happening. I think that, yes, there absolutely should be some classes around how to manage your money better, how to invest, how to not to buy shit you don't need. But I don't think that still takes the idea of universal income away. I think that should still be good.
It said here for 2018, Amazon reported owing $322 million in taxes to U.S. governments and another $563 million in the rest of the world. Under a separate accounting category, Amazon reported cash taxes paid, or the amount of funds actually paid in taxes, of actually $1.2 billion last year. So they sold $10 billion and they paid $1.2 billion. So that's...
You pay 10% in taxes?
That's low. That's way low.
So what's the percent of the business, like, what's the percentage, like, company pays?
It depends how they... The thing is, this is a whole...
I get taxed 45...
Yeah, exactly.
I want you to... I get 45% of my commission check is taxed. 45 motherfucking %.
Almost half.
And...
So that means if they made...
That's a lot.
But so the point that I'm trying to make is, you understand that most people get outraged about the fucking guy that's buying weed with his welfare, or the Mexican guy that's taking your money or whatever. That's like the normal thing to get upset. But the fucking company that is paying a minimum amount of, that is doing taxes, a minimum amount of contribution, but taking a large part of the pie.
Yeah.
Nobody seems to give a shit about that. It's like I
think people do. I think crazy. It's just not out there as much.
It's not as known. You can't make a point.
You don't see that on the news. They don't push that on the news. What do they push? A different agenda.
Yeah, you don't have Amazon coming to your dad's convenience store and spending their money on wisely for you to create. No, I'm not being an asshole. I'm just saying, like, that's the thing. You don't see that. You don't know what's going on. It's in the back end.
The other thing, like, the positive thing about Amazon, it have give jobs, so many jobs. I probably have like 3 friends that deliver package for Amazon. They're getting paid for. So okay, they might not pay taxes, but they're giving a lot of jobs to people, you know. So even though they're not giving money to the government, they're giving money to these people that are working for them. So that kind of creating a job and creating something good for the community.
They are creating jobs. I think that there's something behind that, just like you said. going back if they're contributing what they're supposed to be contributing.
I mean, there's no reason why they shouldn't be doing both.
Well, they definitely should be paying tax. No, nobody should be.
I mean, they're making enough money to pay the fucking taxes. But when the game is set up in a way in which there are loopholes, and you have the money to figure it out,
if you know how to play the game,
then why wouldn't you hire the best people to help you play the game? And that's the idea behind it. But then but it's up to the government, in my opinion, and I know this idea is ridiculous. It's up to the government to level up the playing field for those who are not equipped to play the game as well. And that's the whole idea behind UBI and welfare and government programs and leveling the game. But I don't know. I know
who's lobbying the government, right?
Having such right now, who's in top of the government right now? You're talking about Trump, and he was saying he was bragging on his campaign with Hillary about him not paying taxes. So then you have like all these companies behind, like going to the government, saying like, I'm not gonna pay. Well, even the president, some of his years didn't pay for his taxes. You know, true, so right now I'm just gonna like, if he did it, he's the president. Why should I do it? You know,
the loopholes.
And man, money runs everything, man. And sometimes you don't see it, like, oh, it's America, it's no corruption here, but this is the most corrupt country you probably live in, man. You know,
the most corrupt country.
And there is other, at least they give it to the people, you know, opportunity to work, an opportunity to improve themselves, an opportunity to succeed in their life. There is other country where there's a lot of corruption,
and none of that.
Just take it off.
Yeah.
The good thing we live in America,
it's polished.
It's enough for the government to steal enough money, or for them not even to pay their taxes, and for us to have enough.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can.
That's awesome.
No, it's polished, it's clean, and there's enough to keep people going. There's enough to keep people going, and they can make a living. They can have a home. They can have a vehicle. There's means to build their own business, to do whatever they want.
And you can succeed here, man.
Versus, you're right. Other countries, you can't just go get a loan for a house. You can't go get a loan for a vehicle. That's something that we take maybe for granted here.
And I think what I'm trying to say is that that's great, and I like it. But I feel like this idea of capitalism is taking over that into a negative way. So now they're using this benefits, this loans, and this extra stuff to get you to agree to commit to this long-term commitments for shit that you don't need. But the shit that you don't need, what's the key about that you think that you need it?
Of course, 'cause that goes back to consumerism, right? I mean, you see,
but it's so common. But what is that? What does that mean? Like,
what does that mean? You see somebody with a specific body type. So you say, I need to get in that body type, and then they have a Botox commercial next to, somebody's getting older, they're getting wrinkles. No, they need Botox. And then you see a certain clothing, and every model in the advertisement has a certain body figure, right? So you think you need to adjust your body to that, right? And then you have something else about eating healthy and eating clean. So now you need to eat a certain type of food or change your whole diet, change your whole lifestyle. So that's what I mean. Or buying more things that you just don't need. Next thing you know, you got a bunch of stuff that you really, really don't need.
Yeah, but again, is that okay? We seem to think that that's normal, that that's okay, all right. But I just think, again, the guy that's really fat and has bad blood pressure and
is
unhealthy, or what is the name of it? Diabetes. The blame is on him, right? You didn't control yourself. You should have controlled yourself. But I'm proposing this idea that that is to a certain level true. But when the advertisement has been working hard since the 50s or before the 50s to get you to agree or to understand that this is what you need to do, at what point does it stop being fair? At what point that there needs to be some sort of control and there needs to be some sort of level? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean,
you need to work hard.
I don't think that's gonna stop. I think it's a free market, and that's what makes the economy go around when people are spending. I think it goes back to education and people knowing how to budget and knowing how to not fall victim to that whole consumerism and just consuming everything that they want. Even if they don't even qualify for it, you get into debt for something you can barely afford, and that becomes that modern day slavery. Yes, you're not working for free, but then again, you're working for what? For things that you might not even need.
You're working for things that they want, or the system is created for you. Like, I'll give you an example. The ring. Mm-hmm. You have to get married.
Right. You
have to get a ring.
Culture
and
says.
You have to go spend. They even have an equation that has 3 times of your salary.
Oh, yeah?
Of a month's salary.
3 times your monthly salary.
3 times of your monthly salary is what you should spend on this ring. That is absolute horse shit. But it was created in the 50s by the diamond industry and is now part of the culture.
Right.
And I went and got the ring, which is not the expense that I needed to be doing at the time. But I went to the store, I got in the fucking place, and I asked for the loan, and I looked at it, and I paid a ridiculous amount of money for something that is fucking worthless. So go back to...
And then we're in America where it's like, what, 50% divorce rate?
Right. But no, go back to what you said earlier, Elias, you said earlier, well, you need to make sure that you don't spend your money. It's so simple. But see, for you it's simple because you've been around your family that has been always very conscious of this. So it goes back to education, I agree. But it's not as simple because you have to follow the certain norms or you're an asshole. Could I've asked Stacey to be my wife without the ring? Maybe, but it would have been a really weird thing or a hard sell. Like,
maybe it's not a 3 times your monthly income.
Oh, I didn't do that.
Right? Maybe it's something that's, hey...
I did 5 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get married, but I'm in debt with your ring.
Right. So I'm going to start as the man of the house with you, in debt.
Right, but why do we do it? Because it's been... So again, advertisement. Yes, we should be smart with our money. Yes, we should do that, but it's not... I just proposing this idea that it's not all up to us. And it's never going to be all up to us, and it is up to the government to understand that there's fucking companies that are taking advantage of the consumer, and then for them to create certain things. And there are certain laws already for that. You can't have a certain interest rate because of that, right?
Right, because too much because you're raping them.
You can't have a certain interest.
Yeah, there's a cap.
So the whole idea is not insane that you can have certain things in place. And yes, it's a great country. Yes, it's created a lot of different opportunities. Best country
in the world, man.
Yeah, whatever. But it's created a situation in which they okay. So you have to get the car.
You know why? Because you have access to money. That's why you go to Mexico. I don't know how it is in Argentina, Colombia. You buy. They might not have the money, right? So they buy something, and you have la señora who goes to collect every week. Every Friday, she goes to collect a little bit of money from that person that they're paying off those pairs of shoes or kids' clothes. I don't know if you guys have something like that in Argentina or not. But here you can get a credit card, right? You get a credit card and it allows you to buy more, allows you to consume more. That was my whole thing. Dave Ramsey is like, I'm sure you guys have heard of Dave Ramsey. But a lot of he's starting he has a program that he's starting in some schools now. And that's not government related. That's him and his organization going out and trying to educate people on budgeting, and they're now being able to get into certain schools. So, I mean, I think that's an awesome step.
They're gonna shut him down.
No, actually, I think they're supporting. I think people are changing.
It's great.
I think people are changing their way of thinking, and they're realizing, and they're catching up, and they're like, all right, well, I must be doing something wrong.
See, I'm from a conspiracy theory idea that is not an accident. It's him moving that. It is not an accident that we don't know that shit.
Right.
As they don't want you to know because it's easier. It keeps the economy going.
But people are catching on.
No, you know what they're doing? They're getting your money before you get the money.
Right.
How fucked up is that? It's like,
that's the best system.
How can we get their, like, we got all the money they have. They've only worked for 18 years. They only had this much. What can we do? Oh, we can get the money that's coming up. Let's get them to sign up here. Any money that's coming up going forward is ours too.
Sure.
The whole thing is fucked up, bro. But, you know, it is what it is, right?
I think the culture's changing. Here? I think people are changing. I think people are realizing how what's happening around us, and I think that's causing change.
We have more information available.
Absolutely.
Like now, Dave Ramsey's out there, and he has a venue to make.
You guys watch him on YouTube for free.
Yeah, stop doing that. We are out there making dreams come true.
Sure.
Changing lives.
Right, Mosquito Ninja 7.
Mosquito Ninja 7. I mean, Smart Stupid
10 years ago, this wasn't available.
Well, yeah, I mean, and if anything, that's very true. Before, you were just limited by the information you were given on the news and
the library.
On the library, which is, you know, it was somewhat credible, but or the paper. Mm-hmm. That you want to know what it was, but yeah, I don't know.
The paper is just like the news, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I think sometimes you just gotta keep your minds on the things that you're very interested on, wanting to do. Like, what do you want to do with your life, and focus on that. Let's say my brother, he wanted to learn how to play guitar. He wanted YouTube, learn how to play guitar. He didn't have to get out of the house. Sometimes it's like people has a bunch of free time, and they can actually learn all these things about, you know, how to deal with my money. But many people are not interested in changing either, you know?
I agree.
Like, sometimes you think everybody wants to change.
Or improve themselves.
Yeah, but
nope.
It's not true, you know? Some people don't even care. They're like, I just want to live my life, get my job, and that's it. You know, don't bother me. Like, look, you can open your company, you can do your thing. Oh, that's not, I don't want to do that, you know?
Yeah.
Just let me chill. That's too much responsibility. That's not for me, you know?
That's too much work.
So you have these sides like, oh, come on, you want to do this. Like, you definitely want to change.
You can.
Like, chill, man. It's my life. I end up doing whatever I want. The good thing right now, we have all these speakers. They can actually, for the people that wants to learn, they can actually go and learn and make a change in their life. So it's all about, like, that's what I like America so much. Because if you set your mind to succeed, you will succeed. It gives you the opportunity to give you and to obtain whatever you want to obtain. Mm-hmm. And you know, I'm happy I'm living in America.
Absolutely.
Living in America.
It's so, there you go.
Living in America. Oh yes.
Man, that was good.
That was good singing.
We're gonna have such a good time with you guys tonight, man.
Absolutely, man. I think this was awesome, man.
Best time ever, man.
I think we had a great conversation. I think that that $1,000 a month would be great. I think nobody would complain about that. I think it would be great to do an experiment somewhere, but I don't think that'll ever happen. Let's see what happens. That's right. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Can't go wrong.
Thanks for joining us, guys.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you, guys.